All right, welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Scrambled Jake's Breakfast Company. If you're looking for a new way to start your workday, bypass the big national chains and grab way better food at Scrambled Jake's. Dine in or carry it out to your home or home office. Coffee or brunch drinks, depending on what kind of day you're starting. Giant cinnamon rolls, and I mean giant. They're huge. There's just no better place to start your weekday or your weekend day. Scrambled Jake's out in Rocky Hill in West Knoxville. ScrambledJakes.com to learn more. Terrific place. All right. As I said, 12 weeks ago, Trey Wallace broke the story that Tennessee was investigating Jeremy Pruitt. UT decided to dive in with both feet in order to get rid of Pruitt without having to pay him his buyout, which we said on that Sunday, don't count on that. And I would still say, don't count on that. But you dug in and you found a lot of dirt. More dirt maybe than the NCAA would have found, although it's possible. The NCAA comes in and finds all that, and then you're really in trouble, which leads to my question. At the time, fans were saying, yeah, go get him. I remember the texts we were getting and the tweets on that day. Woohoo, fire him for no money. Now, people have turned around and said, well, they went after, they hammered their own program for nothing. What are you doing? You went cheap. Okay, where are you on this? What's your take on this? Could they have handled this better? Or, since we don't know the situation with the NCAA yet, do you look at it and say, if the NCAA finds 50 violations and you didn't turn them in, then you're really hammered. How do you look at it? Could they have handled this mess better? Either one of you.
I will go with they could have handled it better, and I think the first set the NCAA aside just a little bit, and I think they wanted to get out from paying Pruitt the $13 million.
If he'd just gone 8-2, they wouldn't have done the investigation or hung around his neck.
Exactly.
It'd have been all Shelton Felton and Brian Niedermeyer.
So I think, yes, you tried to get out for paying the money. You found all these violations. I mean, the rumors are all over the place of what they are, of course. But I think if you had put down a way to handle this, you couldn't have done it a lot worse. And I go back to the press conference where Pruitt's gone, Fulmer's gone, and it is words like egregious and horrible and my gosh, the sky is falling with these NCAA. I think the combination of all that and the fact that you were left with a coach that when you set out to hire a coach, what might it have been, 5th, 6th, 7th choice? Who knows? We'll never know that. I think you've arrived in a terrible place, and if you go back 12 weeks ago, I think the thing would be just fire him, pay him his $13 million, and let's go, because you and I both said at the time, this could end up costing you a lot more than $13 million.
And it's going to.
And I think you are just, you're not going down the road, you're going down a roller coaster towards this is going to cost you more than $13 million. So I think it was handled horribly.
What do you think, Jimmy?
I guess I don't agree with that from this perspective. If you had said, we're going to pay you your money, go away, you're still not avoiding an NCAA investigation, right?
True.
Although if you dig into it, can you just toss it around the necks of, we've seen LSU didn't blow up Will Wade. Auburn has blown up Bruce Pearl. They just said, come and get us.
And here, right.
And they
may still get them.
They may.
And in Auburn, 3 years later, self-imposes a basketball tournament ban. There are several things that Tennessee did that I liked. I liked the fact, and by the way, before I get into that, Florida had a situation with Dan Mullen. They handled it internally. Nobody knew anything about it until he got a show cause. Maybe that was a better way to handle it. But at least from Tennessee's perspective, you did hire Mike Glazier, who I think gives you credibility with the NCAA. And then I think that when you did these investigations or these discussions with the coaches and players and so forth, the NCAA through Zoom was piped in, so they saw what was going on. I think what Tennessee's going to do is they're going to submit their internal investigation to the NCAA. The NCAA is incredibly short-staffed. The NCAA will accept it because Mike Glazier was a part of it, and then Tennessee will self-impose penalties, and then the debate is it a one-year bowl ban or a two-year bowl ban? Is it 8 scholarships or is it 18 scholarship reduction? I think that's what's going to end up happening. I do think there were some stumbles at the press conference. For example, what did Jeremy Pruitt do well? Well, he recruited well. Okay. But I think there was
even Fulmer, when he said that, he stopped like, hell, I'm going to go ahead and finish.
Yeah.
It's half out. I'll finish.
So,
and then the Plowman comment that scared Potentially scaring
stunning,
coaches.
shocking, yeah, that kind of stuff. Which, to me, if you're trying to go out and hire another coach, doesn't you scare them away a little bit when you use that kind of language?
Well, see,
They
and
might
that's
have
where,
assumed
that's
that
where I
anyway, but
come
still.
back to the way they handle. Now, I will say, I think you came out with Danny White. Okay, that's a good check mark.
Yeah.
You know, now it's
Depending
going to
on-
take him 2 or 3, maybe 4 years to work all this stuff out that's going on right now. But that is a positive out of it. But it seemed to me that Tennessee did this, and you go back to the day of the Texas A&M game. You go back to the day that this story broke, and it's like Tennessee chased it all the way without ever somebody coming back and saying, okay, if there's a worst case scenario, what is our plan? And it's not to get out in front of everybody in a news conference and scare your fans to death and make a red shining light going at the NCAA. That's where I think it was handled poorly. And then it's exacerbated by all the guys going into the transfer portal.
Yeah.
That just makes it seem that much worse.
All right, let's roll this over to the next segment, and I want to ask about and by the way, I'll say this about Danny White, because there's rumors out there that I think that's a good hire if it turns out he's an athletic director who hires coaches and lets the coaches coach. If he's an athletic director who comes in and runs the programs for the coaches, then I'm going to have my doubts about Danny White. For example, if the AD is running a coaching search for assistants,
Yeah.
that would be a red flag in my view. We'll see how that turns out if we learn more of that. But I want to ask, we'll roll this over to the next question. Who came out of this mess looking good? Anybody? And who came out of it looking worst? That's our question next. Come on back on the Sports Source.